Welcome to a world where legends whisper and bravery shines, a realm where knights embark on noble quests and honor is more than a word, it's a legacy. Tonight, as the stars gather to listen and the night wraps the world in its quiet embrace, let yourself be carried away to the times of King Arthur and his valorous knights. Prepare to embark on a journey with Sir Gawain, one of the most loyal and pure-hearted knights of the Round Table. Our tale, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, is not just an adventure across a mystical land, it's an exploration of the inner struggles that define us, the battles fought not against dragons, but within the chambers of the heart. So, make yourself comfortable, let the worries of the day fade into the shadows, and breathe deeply of the tranquil air that precedes a journey into dreamland. Close your eyes and allow the story to unfold, guiding you through enchanted forests and ancient challenges to find rest in the wisdom of tales old and comforting. Let the adventure begin as you drift closer to the serene shores of sleep, enveloped in the courage and honor of a time long past. In the grand hall of King Arthur's court, the glow of torches flickered against the stone walls, casting shadows that danced with the merriment of a New Year's Eve feast. The air was rich with the scent of roasted meat, sweetmead, and the warm earthy aroma of pine boughs that adorned the walls. Laughter and song swelled in the space as nobles and knights celebrated the closing of a year, their voices intermingling with the clinking of goblets and the soft rustle of fine garments. At the high table, King Arthur himself presided over the festivities, his presence commanding yet benevolent. Around him, the knights of the Round Table recounted tales of valor, their eyes sparkling with the zest of life that only such a brotherhood could foster. Among them sat Gawain, nephew to the king and a knight famed not only for his prowess in battle, but for the purity of his heart and his unwavering honor. As midnight neared, a hush began to descend upon the court. Tradition held that the year would not turn until an act of great significance occurred, something that would mark the beginning of the new year with promise and adventure. Yet, as the hour approached, there was only the gentle crackling of the hearth and the soft shuffling of feet. The anticipation was palpable, a tangible whisper waiting to burgeon into a roar. It was then that the great doors of the hall burst open with a thunderous sound, and a figure emerged from the wintry darkness beyond. He was a knight, though unlike any other, for his stature was immense, and his visage was entirely, unnervingly green. Green was his armor, fashioned more from living vine than from metal. Green was his skin, a hue of forest leaves in the deep of summer. Even his steed, massive and snorting plumes of white breath, was a creature of verdant splendor. The Green Knight rode slowly towards the high table, his every move echoing with an otherworldly grace. In his hand, he bore an axe, its blade dark as the depths of the sea, and its handle carved with runes that seemed to shift and writhe in the torchlight. A silence had befallen the court, a silence so deep it was as if the world itself held its breath. With a voice that resonated like the rustling of leaves, the Green Knight issued his challenge. Any among the Round Table could strike him with his own axe, but in a year and a day they must seek him out to receive a blow in return. It was a test, a riddle of courage and honor laid before the knights, a gamble with the unknown. There was a pause, a collective intake of breath among the knights, a weighing of valor against the shadow of the unknown. Then, from the high table, Gawain rose. His face was a mask of solemn determination, his voice steady as he accepted the challenge. In the eyes of the court, he was the embodiment of the chivalrous ideals they all aspired to, and if fear touched his heart, it did not show. Gawain approached the Green Knight, and taking the axe, he struck. With a single, mighty blow, the Green Knight's head tumbled from his shoulders, rolling to a stop at the feet of the assembled nobility. Yet, the marvel did not end there, for the Green Knight did not fall. Instead, he stepped forward, reaching down to pick up his severed head. The head then spoke, reminding Gawain of the bargain struck that in 1 year and a day, the Green Knight would await him at the Green Chapel. As the Green Knight mounted his horse and departed, his laughter echoed in the hall like the rustling of leaves in a silent wood. Gawain stood, holding the heavy axe, his destiny sealed by his own hand. The feast had ended, but a new tale had begun, one that would test the mettle of Gawain's spirit and the very fabric of chivalry. The court erupted into a storm of voices, each trying to make sense of what had transpired. But within Gawain, the gears of fate had begun to turn, setting him on a path from which there was no return, a journey that would lead him into the wilds of his own soul and to the enigmatic heart of the Green Chapel. In the days following the Green Knight's departure, Gawain found himself at the heart of every conversation within the walls of Camelot. Whispers followed him like shadows as he walked the cold stone corridors, a hero in the eyes of the court, yet a man encumbered by the weight of a future uncertain. Each night, Gawain retired to the chapel, seeking solace in the silent company of saints and angels painted upon the walls. The candlelight flickered against the features of the Virgin Mary, casting a soft glow upon her visage, which seemed to offer silent counsel. It was in these quiet hours, as he knelt upon the worn stone, that Gawain contemplated the nature of his quest. The promise he had made was not simply a vow of bravery, but a test of his virtue, his very soul. The cold winter weeks waned, and as the frost began to relinquish its grip on the land, Gawain readied himself for the journey. The court armorer worked tirelessly, forging a suit of chainmail interlinked with the care of a spider, weaving its web. The metal gleamed like starlight, a cascade of tiny rings that would sing with the knight's every move. Upon his shield was painted the emblem of the Virgin Mary, a constant reminder of the divine protection he sought. The night before his departure, A feast was held in Gawain's honor. The hall was filled once more with song and story, but the revelry was tempered by an undercurrent of solemnity. Arthur's court was a family, and though they celebrated Gawain's courage, their hearts were heavy with the thought of the unknown perils that lay in wait. King Arthur himself rose to bid Gawain farewell, his voice resonant with pride and a subtle tremor of concern. "Nephew," he began, "you embark upon a path shrouded in mystery, a challenge that none but you could brave. You carry with you not just the honor of your own name, but the honor of all Camelot." The knights and ladies of the court offered prayers and words of encouragement. Lady Guinevere presented Gawain with a richly embroidered scarf, a token of favor. "Let this be a reminder of the faith we place in you, Sir Gawain. May it keep you warm when the cold seeks to bite at your resolve," she said, her eyes alight with a mixture of admiration and concern. With dawn came the clatter of hooves and the creaking of leather as Gawain mounted his steed, Gringolet, a horse as steadfast as the earth itself. Clad in his new armor, Gawain felt its weight not just upon his shoulders, but upon his heart. He turned to look upon Camelot one last time, its banners waving in the crisp morning air, the stone of its walls catching the first light of the sun. The gates opened, and Gawain rode forth, the scarf of Lady Guinevere tied firmly to his arm. His path led him through the awakening countryside, through villages where folk peered from their windows with curiosity and awe. The road wound its way into the wilds, where the trees stood tall and silent, and the wind whispered of ancient times. Gawain faced many trials, even in the earliest days of his quest. Bandits lurked in the woods, their eyes greedy for the glint of his armor. But they found no easy prey in the Knight of Camelot, who met their malice with the swift justice of his sword. There were other challenges too, bitter cold that sought to seep into his bones, and deep rivers that roared with the pride of the untamed world. Yet for each trial, there was also beauty, a sunrise that painted the sky with hues of hope, the song of a lark that lifted his spirits, or the generosity of a humble hermit who shared bread and tales of the old days. Each night, Gawain would set camp and gaze upon the stars, feeling the vastness of creation and the smallness of one man against it. Through it all, Gawain's thoughts often turned to the Green Knight and the blow he must receive. It was a destiny he could neither escape nor foresee, and it lay upon the horizon like the dark edge of a storm. Yet he rode on, armored by his faith and the good wishes of those he had left behind, a solitary figure against the sprawling tapestry of Britain. As he ventured further from Camelot, the familiar lands gave way to the realms of legend and whispers of enchantment. Gawain knew his greatest challenges were yet to come, and as he crossed into the shadows of the wild forests, he prayed for the strength to uphold his honor and for the wisdom to discern the true meaning of his quest. As Gawain pressed on through the ever-thickening wilderness, the days grew shorter, and the nights deeper. Each morning he awoke with the dawn, his breath a cloud of mist in the chilled air. He donned his armor, each piece a familiar weight upon his limbs, and continued his journey toward the enigmatic Green Chapel. The land was a canvas of untamed beauty, painting a picture of the world in strokes of emerald and gold, sapphire and rust. Gawain rode through valleys shrouded in mist, where the only sounds were the soft clatter of Gringolet's hooves and the distant call of a raven. Mountains loomed like slumbering giants on the horizon, their peaks hidden by the clutches of jealous clouds. As autumn surrendered to the grip of winter, Gawain faced perils, both mundane and mystical. There were nights when the cold seemed eager to leash the very life from his bones, and he was forced to seek shelter in the hollow of some ancient oak or beneath the overhang of a jutting cliff. He hunted when he could, the skills taught to him by his forebears, aiding him in capturing small game, their flesh a precious reprieve from the relentless hunger that gnawed at him. One moonless night, as Gawain sought the refuge of sleep, beneath the indifferent stars, a lupine chorus shattered the silence, a reminder that man was not the sole hunter in this world. He lay there, his hand on the hilt of his sword, his eyes a pair of silvered slits in the dark, until the serenade ended as abruptly as it had begun, leaving behind only the whisper of the wind through the trees. The people Gawain met were as varied as the landscape. A blacksmith offered him respite and repairs to his gear, the forge's glow a brief echo of human industry amidst the wild. A crone, her eyes bright with unspoken knowledge, bestowed upon him a charm of holly and oak, its green leaves a stark contrast to the winter around them. Each encounter was a thread in the fabric of his journey, each person a reflection of the world he fought to protect. As he drew nearer to his destination, the Green Chapel began to occupy Gawain's thoughts with increasing insistence. Doubt crept in at the edges of his mind, a whispering shade that questioned the wisdom of his oath. He found himself touching the emblem of the Virgin upon his shield, seeking comfort in its presence. One crisp morning, with the frost still glistening upon the ground like a scattering of diamonds, Gawain crested a hill to see a castle nestled in the crook of a great river. It was a vision of civilization, its battlements kissed by the first light of day. Here, he was welcomed by a lord and his lady, their hospitality a balm to his weary spirit. During his stay, Gawain was beset by a different sort of challenge. The lady of the castle, a figure of grace and beguiling beauty, sought to ensnare his heart with words as sweet as honey and glances as piercing as arrows. Yet Gawain, bound by the chivalric code, parried each advance with the deftness of a skilled diplomat, his courtesy unwavering. On the morning of his departure, the lady offered him a sash, a swath of green silk that she claimed would keep him from harm. Torn between honor and the desire for safeguarding, Gawain accepted, tucking the sash away beneath his armor. It was a secret kept close to his heart, a silent concession to the fragility of life. With the sash concealed upon his person, Gawain bid farewell to the lord and lady. He mounted Gringolet, the castle fading into the backdrop of his quest as he rode forth. The green chapel awaited, its silhouette a promise of an end and a beginning, and Gawain, with the weight of his choices heavy upon him, journeyed on to meet his fate. With the dawn of his departure, painting the sky a delicate blush, Gawain mounted Gringolet, the castle's warmth now a fading ember behind him. The green sash, hidden beneath his armor, was a tangible reminder of the enigma that had become his journey. Part quest, part inward odyssey. The green chapel, he was told, lay not far, yet the world seemed to shift strangely as he neared it. The woods denser, the air tinged with an ancient scent of moss and earth. It was as if the very landscape sought to hide the chapel, cloaking it in whispers of mist and the gnarled fingers of trees. Finally, the chapel emerged, less a structure of worship than a monument to the old world, its stones overgrown with ivy, as if nature itself had laid claim to it. Here, amidst the eternal quiet of the glade, Gawain dismounted, his heart beating a solemn dirge. He had not long to wait. The Green Knight appeared, his presence as formidable as the untamed forest around them. Yet there was a familiarity in his stance, an echo of the Lord who had hosted Gawain with such jovial ease. The terms of their year-old accord hung between them, unspoken yet thunderous. The Green Knight's axe glinted as he hefted it, its edge a cold slash of reality. "Your blow was struck with honor," the Green Knight intoned, his voice the deep timbre of the earth. "Now you shall receive yours." Gawain knelt, baring his neck, his heart, a tempest of valor and fear, thudded against his ribs. The green sash pressed into his flesh, a secret shield against the strike. Would it hold? Would the enchantment prove true, or had he forsaken his honor for naught? The axe rose, the Green Knight's arms a study in controlled power. It fell once, stopping a hair's breadth from Gawain's skin, a feint that tested his mettle. Again it rose, and again it halted, the Green Knight's eyes searching Gawain's. The third time, the blade kissed Gawain's neck, a nick that was at once a bite and a blessing. Blood welled, a crimson ribbon against his skin, but his head remained upon his shoulders. The Green Knight lowered his weapon, revealing the truth. The Lord of the castle and the Green Knight were one and the same. The tests of the castle and the chapel intertwined. "You have proven yourself," the Green Knight said, "but not through your might or the magic of a sash. It was your willingness to face the blow that grants you honor." Gawain, rising, felt the sting of the cut, a mark of his mortality and the weight of the sash's lesson. He had faltered in his virtue, a slip he could not undo. The realization was a cold wind that cut deeper than any blade could. "The sash," Gawain admitted, his voice a whisper of leaves, "was a gift I thought to use against your blow." The Green Knight nodded, his gaze neither condemning nor forgiving. And so it is that we learn. The path of chivalry is not without its thorns, nor is it without its growth. With a heart humbled and eyes open to the complexities of honor, Gawain accepted the lesson of the Green Knight. As the mysterious figure retreated into the forest, Gawain knew that he would return to Camelot a changed man, bearing not just the scar upon his neck, but the deeper etchings of humility and truth upon his soul. The journey back to Camelot was one not measured in miles, but in the reflections of a soul seeking absolution. Gawain rode with the weight of his experiences nestled deep within, the green sash beneath his armor, a constant companion to his contemplations, the landscape that had once whispered of enchantment now murmured of redemption. As the spires of Camelot rose on the horizon, they did not gleam with the innocence they once held in Gawain's eyes. They were now a beacon to a man who had grappled with the very essence of his being and had come away marked by the knowledge of his own fallibility. The court received Gawain with a flourish of trumpets and a parade of banners, a hero returning from an odyssey that had become legend even as it unfolded. Gawain dismounted, his steps toward the great hall, less a procession of pride than a march of penance. "My king, my queen," Gawain began, his voice resonant within the hall that had borne witness to the start of his quest. "I return not with triumph, but with the humility of one who has known error." He drew forth the green sash from his tunic, holding it up for the court to see. "This," he said, "is the token of my failing, a lesson in the complexity of honor." King Arthur stood, his gaze upon Gawain not with disappointment, but with profound respect. "Nephew," he said, the title more a term of endearment than ever, "you have faced what few could dare. Your journey was your own, but the lesson you bring back is for us all." The court was silent, the air thick with the weight of Gawain's confession. Then, from the gathered knights and ladies, came a sound soft and stirring as the rustle of leaves in the wind, a gentle clapping that grew into a roar of applause. Gawain had faced his human frailty, and in doing so had risen above it. "We shall all wear a sash of green," declared the king, in recognition of the courage it takes to face one's own weakness and to strive ever toward the light of truth and honor. The green sash became a symbol, not of Gawain's moment of weakness, but of the enduring strength that comes from recognizing and learning from one's missteps. It was a new chivalric code, one that embraced imperfection as a catalyst for growth. Gawain, standing before his king and his peers, felt a release, a freeing of the burden he had carried so long. The wound at his neck, now a faint scar, was a testament to his survival, but the green sash that lay before the court was a testament to his evolution as a knight and as a man. In the years that followed, the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight was told and retold, a tale of adventure and human complexity. Gawain himself would often be found in the hall, his green sash proudly worn, recounting his trials not as stories of his valor, but as parables of the journey every soul must undertake to find its honor. And as the stars wheeled overhead and the seasons turned in their endless dance, Camelot thrived, for in the heart of its knights beat the truth that honor was a living thing, shaped by every choice, every challenge, and every moment of courage faced in the quiet of one's heart.